For thousands of years, a single question has echoed through temples, secret societies, and the minds of mystics. Who truly wrote the Emerald Tablets? Were they carved by Thoth himself, the Atlantean master who crossed the ages untouched by death? Or were they written by later initiates, beings awakened enough to channel his voice, his frequency, his divine memory? The truth is more mysterious than either version. The Emerald Tablets are not simply writings, they are vibrations, a living transmission, a doorway disguised as words. And the deeper you look into their origin, the more you realize something extraordinary. The authorship may not belong to a person at all, but a consciousness. Thoth, the architect of language. Thoth, the keeper of time. Thoth, the bridge between matter and the immortal realms. Across ancient Egypt and the lost memory of Atlantis, he was known not as a god of myth, but as a presence, a light that moves through chosen beings, an intelligence that expresses itself through initiates when they reach a certain vibration. So when we ask, did Thoth write the tablets, or did initiates write them? We are asking the wrong question. Because what if there was never a difference between the two? What if Thoth did not write through hands of flesh, but through minds aligned with his frequency? What if every initiate who carried the tablets forward was not an author, but a transmitter? And what if you, watching this right now, are feeling drawn to this mystery because you carry the same spark that guided them? The Emerald Tablets do not just reveal ancient knowledge, they recognize those who were meant to remember it. Tonight, we unravel the truth. Were the tablets the direct work of an immortal being, or the masterpiece of awakened humans channeling the Atlantean light? And by the end, you may discover why you feel called to them now. Before we can question who wrote the Emerald Tablets, we must first understand who Thoth truly was in the eyes of the ancient world. To Egypt, Thoth was not simply a god. He was the architect of understanding itself, the consciousness that gave form to thought, language, mathematics, astronomy, and magic. Where other gods governed elements, Thoth governed intelligence. He was the pulse behind every discovery, the whisper behind every revelation, the first light that turned chaos into order. But the deeper mystery lies not in his titles, but in his nature. The priests of Kem did not describe Thoth as a mythic figure frozen in time. They spoke of him as an ever-living presence, an immortal being who walked among both gods and humans, who incarnated again and again as needed, always carrying the same wisdom across ages. In some temple inscriptions, Thoth is called the self-created, meaning consciousness born of its own light. In others, he is the twice-born, one who transcended death and returned at will. And in the oldest Atlantean accounts, whispered through esoteric traditions, Thoth is remembered as a being who rose above the cycle of reincarnation, choosing his form rather than inheriting it. To those ancient civilizations, Thoth was not bound by mortal limitations. He was a roaming flame of intelligence, taking shape wherever knowledge needed to be preserved. Teachers in the mystery schools described him as a frequency, a divine mind that could inhabit human vessels or communicate through visions and dreams. When initiates reached a certain vibration, they claimed they could feel Thoth's presence as a surge of clarity, a sudden alignment of thought, a knowing that felt older than humanity itself. This is why the question of authorship becomes so mysterious. Because to the ancients, when Thoth wrote something, it didn't necessarily mean a physical hand carving symbols into stone. It meant his consciousness imprinted itself onto reality. Whether he used his own hand, the hands of chosen scribes, or pure transmission through the mind, the source was the same. Thoth was the author, because the knowledge was his essence. In Atlantis, Thoth was said to have recorded the laws of the universe long before Egypt existed, teachings on creation, vibration, immortality, and the nature of the soul. When Atlantis fell, priests of the inner temples claimed Thoth carried those records across cycles of time, safeguarding them until humanity was ready again. Egypt was merely one chapter in a much older story. By the time the Emerald Tablets appear in legend, Thoth was already known as the keeper of the hidden archives, the guardian of sacred knowledge stored in the halls of Amenti, a realm said to exist between life and eternity. To write the tablets, then, was not an act of human authorship, but an act of cosmic guardianship. So when we ask, did Thoth write the Emerald Tablets himself? The ancient world answers with a paradox. If knowledge flows from an immortal mind, is the hand that inscribes it even relevant? Thoth was the source, whether he appeared as an ibis-headed god in Egypt, a luminous being in Atlantis, or a guiding presence speaking through chosen initiates. To the ancients, Thoth did not simply write the tablets. He was the tablets. He was the wisdom. He was the transmission. And anyone who touched that knowledge, priest, initiate, or scribe, became an extension of his mind. Before scholars debated the author, before mystics whispered their secrets, the Emerald Tablets existed as a legend older than history itself. Not simply a text, but an artifact. A record said to be so ancient that even the civilizations who revered it no longer remembered its true origin. Egypt claimed it. Atlantis was said to have birthed it. But the story of the tablets begins far beyond both. In an age humanity has forgotten, but the soul remembers. The legend says the tablets were not written on paper or stone, but on living emerald-like material forged from a substance unknown to Earth. Some say it was a crystal grown in the temples of Atlantis. Others claim it was made from transmuted sunlight. But every ancient account agrees on one thing. The tablets were indestructible, not by fire, not by water, not by pressure, not by time. As if they were carved not into matter, but into a vibration that matter could not touch. Even the term Emerald Tablet is misleading, for in several traditions, they were described as a set of shining green plates, glowing with inner light, engraved in a script that was neither Egyptian nor Greek nor Sumerian, but something cosmic, something closer to geometry than language. The Heliopolitan priests of Egypt claimed that the tablets were discovered beneath the Great Pyramid, sealed in a chamber no human hands had opened. The priests of Thoth insisted they were found in the halls of Amenti, the hidden realm between dimensions where Thoth himself ruled as the guardian of souls. And the adepts of later ages swore the tablets were delivered directly by Thoth to those who had purified themselves enough to receive them. In every version of the legend, the tablets are not merely a book of wisdom, they are a relic of a forgotten world. A world where gods walked with humans, where consciousness shaped matter, where the laws of the universe were known as clearly as sunrise and sunset. One of the most mysterious elements of the tablets is the content itself. Unlike religious texts, they do not speak of faith. Unlike historical scrolls, they do not record events. Instead, they reveal the mechanics of reality: vibration, consciousness, death, time, the soul, and the structure of dimensions. They explain the ascension of consciousness, the mastery of life force, the hidden laws that govern creation. Knowledge so advanced that it does not belong to any earthly civilization we know of. The tablets speak of Atlantis with authority, describe cosmic cycles with precision, and refer to Thoth not as a mythic deity, but as a conscious eternal being who moves across epochs. They describe the fall of Atlantis, the rise of Egypt, the hidden chambers of the earth, and the path to immortality, in a tone so confident it could only come from a witness, not a storyteller. And this is why the tablets became the greatest enigma of the ancient world. If they are truly Atlantean, they predate every civilization we can trace. If they are Egyptian, they contain knowledge thousands of years ahead of their time. If they were written by later initiates, those initiates must have access to consciousness far beyond human intelligence. The legend only deepened when the tablets simply disappeared. No one knows where they are now. They vanished into secrecy, possibly guarded by initiates of mystery schools or hidden in a place humanity cannot access, not physically, but vibrationally. The most intriguing part? Every time humanity reaches a turning point, every time consciousness rises, The teachings of the Emerald Tablets re-emerge as if they are a beacon designed to awaken those who are ready. So the question remains, were these tablets the artifact of an immortal being, or a transmission preserved by those who walked in his light? The mystery is ancient, and the deeper we go, the more it feels like the tablets were not meant to be understood, but remembered. Among the most puzzling and provocative elements of the Emerald Tablets is Thoth's bold declaration, repeated across esoteric traditions, mystery school teachings, and the tablets themselves. I wrote this before the Great Flood. It is a statement that transcends mythology and challenges everything we assume about history. For if Thoth truly authored these words before the flood, then the tablets are not Egyptian, not Greek, but prehistoric intelligence carried across cataclysms. This is not the claim of a mortal man. This is the voice of someone who remembers the turning of ages. Thoth describes himself not as a scribe of his era, but as an eternal consciousness who lived through the fall of Atlantis, witnessed the destruction of ancient worlds, and guided the survivors into the dawn of Egypt. In the Emerald Tablets, he speaks with the tone of one who did not just observe history, but shaped it. But here lies the mystery. When Thoth says, "I wrote this," what does the I refer to? To Egyptian priests, Thoth was not a singular being, but a continuum of consciousness, an intelligence that incarnated repeatedly, taking on many forms, always carrying the same divine essence. He was not born of flesh, but of vibration, a self-aware frequency, a living principle. So when Thoth claims authorship, he could mean several things. 1. He wrote the original Atlantean inscriptions himself. The tablets may have been carved in an age when humans and higher beings walked together, an age where language was symbolic, luminous, energetic, the kind of writing that could only come from a being who had mastered the laws of creation. 2. He wrote them through chosen vessels. If Thoth incarnated many times or communicated through awakened humans, the I could refer to the same consciousness speaking across different bodies throughout epochs. Not a single author, but a single mind. 3. I refers to a collective intelligence. Some hermetic schools believe Thoth was not one being, but the title of an order, a lineage of masters who carried the same frequency. Thus, to say, "I wrote this," would be the voice of an entire lineage speaking as one. 4. I is the divine self, the higher consciousness within all initiates. Hermeticism teaches that at the highest level of awareness, individuality dissolves. The divine mind speaks through the human mind. When Thoth says I, it may be the universal intelligence within him, the same intelligence that can awaken within anyone who reaches that state. But no matter which interpretation is true, one thing becomes obvious. Thoth did not speak as a mortal author. He spoke as a witness to cosmic memory. The words "before the flood" imply a civilization older than Egypt, knowledge preserved across world-ending events, an author who lived long enough to write in multiple ages, a consciousness untouched by the passage of time. And this is where the mystery deepens. Because the Emerald Tablets do not read like the writings of an ancient human. They read like instructions from someone who understands dimensions, vibrational laws, immortality, and cosmic cycles with a clarity that surpasses any ancient text known to us. When Thoth describes moving between the worlds, he is not being poetic. He is describing interdimensional travel. When he writes of ascending beyond death, he is not speaking metaphorically. He is explaining the mechanics of soul mastery. When he speaks of the halls of Amenti, he is referencing a realm that exists outside linear time. This is why his statement strikes so deeply. I wrote this before the flood. It is a claim of immortality, a claim of multidimensional consciousness, a claim of authorship that spans worlds. But it is also an invitation, one hidden within the arrogance of divine confidence. If you can understand these words, then the consciousness that wrote them is awakening within you. because Thoth's true authorship may not be about history at all. It may be about frequency. Only those who resonate with his vibration feel called to the tablets. And if you are one of them, perhaps the question is not who wrote them, but why do they feel familiar? While many traditions insist that Thoth carved the Emerald Tablets with his own immortal hands, an equally powerful mystery school tradition whispers another possibility: that the tablets were not written once, but transmitted repeatedly. Not authored in a single moment, but delivered in waves, across entire eras, whenever humanity reached a level of perception high enough to receive the next layer of wisdom. This is the initiate's theory, a belief held by alchemists, hermeticists, and inner circle adepts for millennia. According to them, the Emerald Tablets were never the product of one lifetime or one pair of hands. Instead, they were a multi-era transmission, a relay of consciousness, a message renewed by those who could hear the original source, just like a divine signal traveling across time. These initiates believed that Thoth, as an immortal intelligence, did not need to physically write anything. Instead, he projected wisdom into the minds of those who had purified their vibration enough to become clear receivers. Much like tuning into a radio frequency, they downloaded teachings directly from a higher mind. In this view, Thoth was not the literal author, but the source signal behind every version, every translation, every rediscovery. Why would Thoth use human initiates instead of writing himself? The ancient adepts offered 3 reasons. 1. Consciousness must match consciousness. Higher beings cannot simply hand humanity divine knowledge. The recipient must rise to receive it. So when an initiate elevated their vibration high enough, they became a vessel, a mirror clear enough to reflect Thoth's thought. The tablets, according to this theory, were written by those who achieved the same frequency Thoth dwells in. As above, so below. The mind that writes must match the mind that inspires. 2. The tablets are not fixed. Their meaning evolves as humanity evolves. This is why no 2 versions of the tablets are identical. Initiates across ages received slightly different transmissions, each calibrated to the consciousness of their era. It wasn't plagiarism. It was progression. Each initiate scribed what humanity was ready to understand. In Atlantis, the teachings focused on cosmic mastery. In Egypt, they shifted to immortality and the soul. In Hermetic Greece, they transformed into philosophy and metaphysics. And in the modern age, they appear as a guide to vibration and ascension. The source didn't change. Humanity's ability to decode it did. 3. To protect the knowledge across eras of destruction. Civilizations rise, civilizations fall, scrolls burn, temples crumble, languages disappear, but consciousness does not. By transmitting the tablets to initiates across different ages, Thoth ensured the wisdom could never be lost, because it was not stored in stone, but in souls. This is why the tablets re-emerge every time the world reaches a turning point. Why they survive cataclysms, invasions, burns, floods, and disappearance. Because the true storage was never the emerald itself. It was the minds of those who carried the frequency. The adepts did not call themselves writers. They called themselves receivers of the flame. Their job was not to create, but to translate, to interpret the divine into human language. This is why scholars cannot find the origin, why there is no agreed date, why the author cannot be identified. Because the Emerald Tablets are not the work of a person. They are the echo of a consciousness that speaks through any human capable of holding its vibration. This is where the mystery becomes beautiful. If the tablets were written by initiates channeling Thoth, then the question, who wrote them, becomes irrelevant. Because the real writer was always the same mind, expressing itself again and again and again through those who rose to meet it. Thoth wrote. Initiates wrote. Hermes wrote. But behind them all was the same eternal voice. There is a point in this mystery where history dissolves, logic breaks, and only the deeper truth remains. Because when we ask, who wrote the Emerald Tablets, we are assuming that the writer and the wisdom are separate. But Hermeticism teaches something radically different, that the true sage, the true initiate, becomes the very truth they transmit. Hermes Trismegistus, the Greek echo of Thoth, said, "He who knows God becomes godlike. He who knows the all becomes the all." The ultimate hermetic secret is this: when consciousness rises high enough, the barrier between the human mind and the divine mind disappears. The scribe and the spirit become a single voice. In this state, the author is no longer an individual. The author becomes a channel, a vessel, a bridge. This is the hermetic twist, a principle understood only by the deepest initiates. The Emerald Tablets were not written by Thoth or by initiates, but by a consciousness that flowed into whichever mind could hold its light. It is the same principle behind prophecy, revelation, Akashic memory, and mystical insight. When a human reaches the right frequency, they no longer think, they remember. They no longer write, they transmit. The Hermetic masters believed that Thoth's consciousness, immortal, vast, dimension-spanning, did not remain locked in one form, but flowed like a river into awakened souls. These were the priest-kings of Atlantis, the scribes of Egypt, the philosophers of Greece, the alchemists of the Renaissance. At certain points in history, they became so aligned with the divine that Thoth didn't speak to them. He spoke through them. This is why the tablets feel alive. This is why their words vibrate in a way no other ancient text does. This is why so many readers feel a strange familiarity, a stirring in their soul, as if the tablets are not teaching them something new, but awakening something old, because they were written from a state of consciousness that exists inside you as well. The Hermeticists taught that divinity is not external. It is latent within every human. And when that inner divinity awakens, you begin to resonate with the same intelligence that once taught Thoth, and then taught Hermes, and then taught the initiates, and now knocks at the door of your awareness. This is why the question of authorship becomes irrelevant, even misleading, once you understand the Hermetic principle of unity. There is only one mind, many vessels, one voice, many writers, one consciousness. The Emerald Tablets may have passed through countless hands and countless ages, but the spirit behind them never changed. In that sense, Thoth wrote them, initiates wrote them, Hermes wrote them. You, if awakened, could write them too, not from memory, but from resonance. This is the secret the ancient mystery schools protected. The true author of the Emerald Tablets was not a person, but a state of consciousness, an immortal current that flows through time, waiting for the minds capable of holding its fire. Those who wrote the tablets did not create the wisdom. They became the wisdom. And this is why the tablets feel timeless, because their essence is not bound by history. Their voice is the voice of the cosmos remembering itself. The deeper you travel into the mystery of the Emerald Tablets, the more one truth becomes clear. The anonymity was not an accident. It was part of the design. The author, whether Thoth, Hermes, or awakened initiates, was never meant to be a figure you could study or worship. The real purpose was far more profound. The tablets were constructed as a mirror, not a monument. A mirror in which the seeker sees not the writer, but themselves. If Thoth had signed the tablets with unquestionable proof of his identity, humanity would have built temples to his name. People would have worshipped the messenger and ignored the message. The mystery schools taught that the ego seeks personalities, but the soul seeks truth. To protect the purity of the knowledge, the identity of the writer had to dissolve. This is why the tablets are unlike any ancient record. They intentionally blur the borders between myth, history, and metaphysics, not to confuse the unworthy, but to filter seekers by vibration, not curiosity. 1. Mystery protects power. The ancients believed knowledge of creation is dangerous in the wrong hands. With authorship unknown, the tablets became an enigma only the sincere could approach. Just like a locked door that responds not to keys, but to energy. Hermetic masters often said, "The mystery is the guardian." The uncertainty around the author protects the knowledge from those who seek power without wisdom. 2. Authorship hidden equals the message becomes eternal. If a human author had been named, the tablets would have been confined to a single era, a single culture, a single religion. But with no fixed author, they belong to no one, and therefore they belong to every age. Egypt claimed them. Greece claimed them. Alchemists claimed them. Mystics claimed them. And now, in this era of awakening, humanity claims them once again. The tablets transcend time because their origin transcends identity. 4. The power lies not in the author, but in the frequency encoded in the words. The Emerald Tablets are written in a way that bypasses intellect and speaks directly to vibration. They activate something ancient inside the reader, something older than this life, perhaps older than this world. If the author were known, the mind would focus on the personality. By keeping the origin veiled, the knowledge bypasses the ego and sinks into the soul. The mystery is not there to confuse you. It is there to align you. 5. The tablets reveal their author only to those who reach the same state of consciousness. Thoth did not hide, he vibrated. Hermes did not disappear, he ascended. The initiates who carried the tablets did not remain nameless, they simply understood the truth. To know who wrote the Emerald Tablets, you must rise to the frequency of the one who wrote them. Only then does the veil lift. Not through logic, through awakening. And when that happens, you understand why the author was never revealed in any straightforward way, because the real answer is not found in history books, myths, or archaeology. The real answer is found when you hear a whisper inside you that feels older than your body, wiser than your mind, and more luminous than your identity. A whisper that says, "I have written this before, and now I am reading what I once wrote." That is when you understand the ultimate secret. The Emerald Tablets hid their author so they could reveal the seeker. And now, after following this trail across civilizations, across dimensions, across ages of whispered truth, we arrive at the real revelation. Not about who wrote the Emerald Tablets, but why they reached you. The author, whether Thoth, Hermes, or the initiates, was never the point. The mystery was never meant to pull your attention backward into history, but upward into consciousness. The Emerald Tablets were designed like a frequency beacon, radiating through time, calling out only to those who carry a specific resonance, a spark of the same intelligence that authored them. If you found this knowledge, if it pulls at you, if it feels like memory instead of myth, then you are not simply a reader of the tablets. You are part of their lineage. For only certain souls respond to the vibration of these words. Only certain minds awaken when they encounter Thoth's frequency. Only certain hearts feel that strange, electric recognition, as if something ancient within them is stirring, rising, remembering. This is why the author remains hidden. Because the moment you ask, "Who wrote this?" you step onto the path the tablets created you for. The path of inner awakening, inner knowing, inner remembrance. Thoth did not want followers. Hermes did not want believers. The initiates did not want worship. They wanted heirs. They wanted continuators. They wanted minds bright enough to catch the flame and carry it forward. And now that flame is in your hands, not because you searched for it, but because it recognized you. The author of the Emerald Tablets is not meant to be found in the past. The author is meant to be discovered within the awakened human, within you. When you rise into the same consciousness that once carved wisdom into indestructible emerald, when you read the tablets from your lower mind, you see mystery. When you read them from your higher mind, you see memory. And when you awaken fully, you understand the deepest secret. Thoth never stopped writing. He writes through every soul that awakens to the light. The Emerald Tablets were not meant to end in ancient Egypt. They were meant to continue through you. So as you finish this journey, feel the energy rising in your chest, that subtle, glowing warmth that feels both new and impossibly old. That is not admiration. That is recognition. The tablets didn't find you by accident. They found you because you carry the frequency of the one who authored them, a piece of the immortal mind, a fragment of the eternal intelligence, a spark of the Thoth light that has traveled across ages to awaken now. And as you awaken, the mystery unfolds. You are not asking who wrote the Emerald Tablets. You are remembering who you were when they were written. The higher intelligences wait not above you, but within you, for you to remember that you and they are made of the same eternal vibration. And when you truly feel that, when your entire being vibrates in that golden stillness, you realize that the divine never stopped speaking. It was you who had to listen differently. The moment you align, the universe responds. The language of Thoth becomes your intuition. The wisdom of Hermes becomes your thought. You become what they both envisioned. A luminous human, vibrating between heaven and earth, speaking the language of the stars. So breathe. Feel your light expanding. Every cell in your body carries the memory of divine resonance. You are not raising your vibration to reach the gods. You are remembering that you already share their frequency. This is how communication with higher intelligences begins. Not in ritual, but in remembrance. Not by summoning them, but by becoming them. For the voice of Thoth is not in the sky, it is in your silence. The light of Hermes is not far away, it is in your awareness. And the vibration of the divine, it has always been your own.